Magic Conj, will I ever get to meet Tom Kenny?
Maybe someday.
Oh, so you're saying there's a chance. Okay. Should I tell fans of the show how they can support us?
Yes.
Goofy Goobers, supporting the show is shockingly easier than catching a blue jellyfish. Right from our anchor page, anchor.fm/SpongePod, you can find links to all of our social media and a support button if you happen to have a few extra clams. Also follow us on mixer.com/SpongePodSquareCast, where it's not only the official home to our sister show, Video Bob Game Pants, it's also where I stream live drawings of various Nickelodeon characters and host the opportunity for commissions and giveaways. Lastly, the official merchandise store is now open at redbubble.com/people/SpongePod, where various designs will be uploaded inspired by our show, including our official logo, which is now available on a multitude of products like t-shirts, stickers, duvet covers, and even a shower curtain. This is a podcast by a fan for fans and will always be fan-driven. Any way you see fit on supporting our show is much appreciated. Thank you and enjoy. Ahoy, mateys, and welcome to another episode of I'm Ready, a SpongePod Squarecast. My name is Captain Eric, and we're continuing our journey through the first season of SpongeBob SquarePants. This is a tough episode for me to record, and not because of the SpongeBob episode we're recording, but it's been a rough week for me. I'm going to start out with good news first, and then I'll talk about a little bit of the rougher news. The first two big pieces of good news are I am planning a video review series of the Nickelodeon, the Funko Nickelodeon products. Funko, for anyone who doesn't know, is the company behind Pops, which if you haven't seen, that means you've never walked into like a Walmart or a Target. But Funko has a few other avenues in which they release the licensed characters they have. They have the Dorbs, they have mystery minis, they have cereals, they have so much, and I've amassed a decent collection of all of the Nickelodeon stuff. And I just did a count. I'm missing maybe about 20. I have a lot of stuff coming in the mail right now that shockingly I didn't just go out and get because of any stimulus checks. I literally sold a ton on eBay and then had all this money in PayPal, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna reinvest and start to build this collection up, get some of the rarer stuff I needed. So there's about like 25 things I need to say this is complete. And if I want to be picky, I believe it's like 34, but those are doubles with different kind of stickers on it. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to be doing a review series, so it's going to be on our YouTube channel. It may also be uploaded, most likely uploaded also to our Facebook page as well. So I'm planning the recording of the first episode. I'm recording this on May 5th. I would like to start recording that before the end of May. Each episode is going to be in order of the shows as they were released, the order of the Nicktoons. So yeah, I'm gonna start with Nicktoon number 1 and then move my way forward. So they're not going to be released weekly. I'm going to put in a lot of video effort into them. I would like to have one a month. That's kind of my goal right now, up until the Korra set. Yeah, there's been some Nicktoons not released, so hopefully, you know, there's some filler, or I get to make some episodes. But it's not going to be something that, you know, right after the Korra episode, that's going to be it. It's just a retrospective of Nickelodeon and Funko and what they've done, reviews, suggestions, hearsay. So definitely pay attention to our YouTube and Facebook pages for that to come up probably in June or right at the end of May. The other piece of good news. This show is currently helping out with the SpongeBob SquarePants movie Rehydrated fan project. If you have not heard of this, let me get some of the information out for you. Now, it's happened a few times before in online where fans have come together as a group and helped to recreate a movie or a television episode. Probably the most famous is the Shrek retold movie. That was done. Essentially, the same thing is happening with SpongeBob, with the original SpongeBob movie. So I just want to make sure you guys have all of the correct information. Now, I first, just to give credit where credit is due, I first heard of this by Valeskybum94, a very well-known YouTuber who does a lot of videos on animation and cartoons. I love his channel. I think it's wonderful because you get those news updates, and then he throws out videos where it's just like hey, this happened at one point in history, and maybe you never heard of this, but he's making a video. He does fantastic work if you're into animation, just little news and did you know videos. I absolutely recommend him. So he had a video 3 weeks ago that the first SpongeBob movie was getting remade, and right in his description he had the official Twitter and YouTube and Discord for this project. So I got onto the Discord and started talking with people who are running into the projects. I'm hoping to give this podcast, this vehicle, as a complete open door for any of the artists who work on this reanimated project. A place to come on, talk about SpongeBob, talk about their process of making this movie. It's not going to debut. I believe the date is in 2021, so it's a while. It's a long process. There's a lot of spinning plates you got to worry about. You got to get a bunch of the animators. They got to know what exactly they're doing. I did audition for a few voices in the movie, and I don't want to confirm anything until it's like 1000% happening. But there is a possibility that my voice is going to be in that movie, so that's a good thing. So those are two big pieces of good news: the Funko show, the SpongeBob movie Rehydrated, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot moving forward. Now more of the somber news. This is I don't want to. I tried recording this episode and starting out with this news, and it just didn't work out. Unfortunately, yesterday my family and I had to make the tough decision to put our dog Chowder down, and it was the second time in my life I really had to do that. I had to help put a pet down. I've had a ton of pets, but there's this kind of level of, I don't know. I don't want to say that if you have like a fish, you can't have the same sort of connection and love that you do with a dog, because everybody's different, But for me personally, the type of connection I had with my pets, I had my first pet was a fish, but when you're like 3 or 4, a fish really, you can't really even touch it, just kind of there in the bowl. My first pet was a cat. It was a cat named Silver, and it was just him and I for years. Absolutely loved that cat. He was just like a brother to me. And when he had to go, I made the decision. I was just immature and not ready. I didn't want to be in the room when anything happened. I stayed out in the car outside. My mother went in, did that, made that decision, and that was it. And I regretted that. Like, when I was able to actually grow up and think about, man, I wish I was there. I wish I was there for his final moments. I was there yesterday for Chowders, and it was really tough. But what's nice about us humans is each and every one of us can point to something that we do or that we enjoy, that we go to when we need a pick-me-up, when we're upset. And what's nice is no matter how diverse we are, we all do that. And it doesn't even matter that one person might say, when I'm upset, I like going to the gym, and another person says, when I'm upset, I like watching a movie. They're two totally different things, but then at the same time, it's nice knowing that as humans, you know, that we all do that. When we're all upset, we all turn to something and use that to help us get through it. And for me personally, it's entertainment. It's a funny movie. It's an episode of SpongeBob. It's a video game. It's something that can just for even 16 minutes of my time not forget, but just feel okay. And that's what I did last night. I watched an episode of SpongeBob and turned on a few other things. Um, I also, just complete random, started. I did this a few years ago, maybe like 3 years ago. I watched through all of Nickelodeon's Doug on Hulu. Watched through the whole series. And then I thought, this is a perfect moment for me to start watching Disney's Doug. Because as a kid, I knew of Disney's Doug. I watched it on one Saturday morning once in a while. But there was just something about it where as a kid, I even knew, like, this is different and I don't like it. And just didn't really connect with it as much as I thought I would. I actually enjoyed Recess a lot. Like, Recess was my favorite one Saturday morning cartoon. And honestly, Recess might be one of the greatest Disney TV shows ever. And the fact that it had a theatrical movie, which I completely did not see in theaters, I don't even remember it being advertised, that upsets me that I didn't get to see that movie in theaters. But I did see Doug, which is, you know what? It's crazy. Maybe it's just Disney's advertisements, or just in those 3 to 4 months that movie was in theaters, I just didn't catch anything. But how I enjoyed Recess the show so much. Didn't know there was a movie in theaters out until after it was like released on video. But Doug, which I enjoyed, but not to the same extent. But a new, Doug's first movie. We have to go see that, Dad. We got to go see Doug. Doug's first movie is not. It's not that good, by the way. But also, you know what? Regardless on the just quick note, regardless on the quality of Doug's first movie, Disney, can you actually release that and it's correct? It's never been released on DVD in the traditional sense. I believe the only way to get it on DVD still is through the Disney Movie Club. But if you get that DVD, it's like a 4:3 TV version of Doug's first movie, and it even includes the fade to black where they would have commercial breaks. And then I think on Disney Plus, I checked it out, and I think it was the same thing. Maybe the credits have been added back in, because I think on the DVD the credits are sped up because of the television. I think on Disney Plus the credits are back to their normal speed, but I still think either it's still 4:3 or maybe the whole movie was always 4:3. I don't know, but that's just been an issue. Anyway, so I started watching a few episodes of Doug on Hulu, and I'm like, you know what? I have Disney Plus. Let me just start watching all the episodes of Disney's Doug. And I gotta say, of course, it is inferior to the Nickelodeon version, but I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I have found some things I like. That's it. I'm sure I'll talk more about it in future episodes, but I just wanted to start that off. That like at this point, I've started, diving into Disney's Doug. I do like. For people who like Disney's Doug, I don't know his name right now, and I don't want to be told, and I don't want to look it up. I just want to naturally get it as I watch the show. But I think the music teacher is an awesome addition. Like, I think that is one of the better written characters of the show, and he's not in much. He's been in like 2 or 3 scenes so far, and I've been like, wow, all right, I enjoy that character. I didn't think I would enjoy a character like any of the new ones they added, but here I am. I did. But enough about Doug. Let's get away from the first Nicktoon and let's get all the way to SpongeBob SquarePants, our namesake here. And I'm running a SpongeBob SquareCast. So the episode today we are watching is Sandy's Rocket. It is the first part of episode 8. It first premiered September 17th, 1999, and July 1st, 2000 in the Great Up North. It was written by Sherm Cohen, Aaron Springer, and Peter Burns, with animation done by Tom Yasumi, and we will see his name also, wink wink, pay attention, at a different time in the show. And of course, this episode is about. This is really, I mean, Sandy was into science, but I firmly believe this is the first episode that really cemented how much into science Sandy is, and it's something that would later become her almost her only trait, other than being really strong. It would really define her in later seasons, but very early on, this is just just kind of shows you, hey, she's into science, but it wasn't like her only thing. Um, we also get a sneaky debut of Flats the Flounder, who doesn't talk in this episode. He will eventually down the line, but this is the first episode he appears in. So without talking too much about the episode, I'm actually going to just start playing it. You can watch along with me if you would like. Every episode of this show acts as a pseudo commentary track for each episode. If this is the first time you're ever listening and you're like, I'm going to check this out. You don't have to follow along with me, but I'll obviously have the show on in the background. As always, I am watching this on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime or know somebody who does, I think the first 5 seasons of SpongeBob are pretty much free for streaming on there, and you could be added on to some plans if you ask somebody very nicely, hey, excuse me, can you add me onto your family plan? And they could say yes. And if they say no, you just keep asking them. Very nicely, though. Don't annoy people. If you happen to have the first season of the show, you can obviously throw that disc in. I wonder how many people have listening to this show up to now episode, what is this one, 15? I think this would be episode 15. If anyone has actually like paused my show and went and got a DVD, I even said in a previous episode, if you have the Game Boy Advanced player game, like that would be awesome. We'll do that in a YouTube video once down the line. But I'm going to be skipping the intro theme song and going right to the title card. So if you want to cue that up, I am playing the episode right now. Sandy's Rocket. This is an episode that really kind of showcases the kind of stuff SpongeBob and Patrick can get into. Like, the town itself of Bikini Bottom seems to, at points, be annoyed by SpongeBob and or Patrick. And it's been shown in future episodes about, there's an episode down the road in which everybody just leaves town, and it's basically like a break from SpongeBob Day, and then they take a break from Patrick Day. You can trace their annoyances all the way back to an episode, pretty much this episode. Now, if you paused, Sandy showed the graveyard right outside of the window. Tom Yasumi, his name was written on the gravestone closest to the camera, to the right side. I thought that was an interesting addition here. I don't know if that math on Sandy's clipboard is correct. So here we have SpongeBob trying to ride in Sandy's rocket with her. And of course, this whole episode, the entire basis of it is supposed to be around aliens, whether or not aliens exist, Patrick convincing SpongeBob that there's aliens, and then them going on an alien hunting trip on the moon. But we will see how that goes. So of course we have the Sandy showing off the pop gun here, which of course becomes a very necessary part of this episode. Which we will all see why in due time. I'm just trying to pull up this one sheet. Yeah, SpongeBob's talking about aliens. See, SpongeBob's already on the alien thing, which I wonder if underwater you're already you're below where land is. So there's already, so you're deep underwater. There's people and animals living on land. Then you have the sky, and then you have outer space. Like, I wonder how they learn, do they learn the same way we do about, what's above us? But for them, they just have an extra layer of what's above, and then they get to the alien part. I don't know. Undersea, it's just one of those things. I love that Patrick has the alien proof spray. I don't know if that exists, but if there's any listeners out near what's the name of the place in New Mexico? Let's see. Roswell. I didn't even look it up. I almost did. I got it. If I have any listeners near Roswell, New Mexico, if you can tell me if there's ever been a spray, like an alien repellent spray, sold at any of the like local gift shops that push the alien thing, please let me know, because I would want to buy one of those cans just as a reference of the show. Yeah. So now we got SpongeBob and Patrick breaking into Sandy's rocket, all of the lights still going off, which doesn't make sense. So apparently the noises of this video game Patrick is playing, and mind you, that face he made has become a very popular meme. But one of the some of the noises that are coming out of the machine right now are actually from Tetris from Nintendo's Game Boy, which is always a pretty interesting piece of trivia. Of course, we have the ejector seats, all these weird buttons, which I would like to know what some of those are for. Why do you have a button that just shakes things? Yeah, there's actually one of the first SpongeBob Lego sets I ever came across was based off of this episode. It was a very early set. My friend had it. We helped build the rocket, but it basically came with Sandy's rocket. It came with spacesuits for SpongeBob and Patrick. It came with Sandy, and I remember the rocket not being a 1-to-1 recreation. I think there was a little bit more red in the Lego rocket than here. Like, obviously in the episode, the wings are red, but if you notice, so when they're floating and when they first start floating, there's a book that came by that had 2001 written on it, and this is a reference to the 1968 film 2001: A Space Odyssey. More about that in a second. This moment right here, you got toothpaste in my peanut butter. That is a reference to the old Reese's peanut butter cup commercials that used to happen. And in actuality, and this is something old. This is something that like people my age might remember. In 1999, there was a Rugrats movie promotion in which stickers were released at specific fast food restaurants that were based off of certain Nicktoons. They were scratch and sniff stickers. The SpongeBob one that was released was for that moment when Patrick squirts toothpaste into the peanut butter. So if you had that sticker, you would be watching this episode and you would, scratch it and sniff what I could guess might be minty smelling peanut butter. Another one of the stickers is when SpongeBob pulls out the hot water bottle under Squidward, and I can't imagine how that must have smelled if they just would have gotten like a squid seafood smell. Yeah, so those are, I don't know if people remember those. I remember when Rugrats Go Wild came out, they had a big deal with Burger King that it was that you would go to Burger King and you would get an entire scratch and sniff card that you would bring to the movie with you. And I didn't see Rugrats Go Wild in movie theaters. There was this weird area of time, which I think is when Recess came out, that I just didn't. Almost uh, any of the cartoon movies came out, I completely missed. Let me see when Recess came out. Yeah, 2001, February 10th, 2001. That's exactly when I missed a lot of these movies. I missed Hey Arnold the movie. I missed the Wild Thornberrys movie. I missed Rugrats Go Wild. I think I saw Rugrats in Paris. That might have been the last one up until SpongeBob. Twins. It's an egg sack. Oh, just this is such a good episode because it's so funny their misunderstanding and their issue going on here. It really, like, the idea of it makes me laugh. I wonder if for the writers, if this sounded outlandish at the time, because this is first season SpongeBob, so SpongeBob and Patrick get into a rocket and actually go up to the moon, but then come back to Bikini Bottom and think, like, that's a pretty out there concept. There's Mr. Krabs walking his worm, Mr. Doodles, who he has sporadically, like he has randomly in a few episodes, but it's almost never consistent. Like you never consistently see Mr. Krabs with this worm called Mr. Doodles. So they've now captured Gary, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, with the idea being that they're going to bring back these aliens, but and I think they're at fault here. I mean, in their mind, they landed on the moon and there's these aliens, but that they're all making it seem like they're people that they know. There's Flats the Flounder, boom, right there. But the issue is like they're going around capturing people that aren't even bothering them. Like let's say if they were completely, they did land on the moon. If you, let's say you're an astronaut, you go to an alien planet and you start just capturing people, like leave people alone. If they're not, I mean, if they were being attacked, it would be one thing. The fact that they think Sandy, I mean, she came down on a jetpack. The fact that they captured her is pretty crazy. This episode has been retold in many SpongeBob books, chapter books. There's another book called Sponge in Space that is pretty much based on this episode. This is also the first episode ever where Mr. Krabs is seen outside of the Krusty Krab, like only. So there's other episodes where you see him outside of the Krusty Krab, and then later on in the episode you see him in the Krusty Krab. This is the first episode that he is completely outside of the Krusty Krab for the entire episode, which is pretty interesting. And this also marks the first episode where Mr. Krabs appears without the Krusty Krab completely. But I guess the Krusty Krab appeared in the chapter book based off of this episode. So then they actually land on the moon, which is just super funny. And that's the end of the episode, is now all the aliens want to attack SpongeBob, which now he's the ultimate bad guy because Patrick in the end captured himself. So now he's a part of the captured people. And that was Sandy's Rocket, a super fun out there episode. It's got high energy. It keeps up the comedy throughout from beginning to end. I have quoted this episode a few times in my life, just certain moments that come up, and it's just one of those. It's one of those out there adventures I enjoy. Simple misunderstanding, but just when you take characters and you put them in a situation where one mistake and they go completely off the rails. They just captured every person seemingly in Bikini Bottom, tied them up, and just start shoving them in this rocket. The idea is crazy. I would have liked... I think you could take an episode like this and drag it out between two episodes, make a full half-hour long special with that concept of SpongeBob and Patrick hijacking Sandy's rocket and getting into this situation, because there's so much more you could do with SpongeBob and Patrick in the rocket, in space, um, getting through Bikini Bottom thinking it's an alien town. I but hey, that's just a concept. It's just what I think. I think you could do a lot more with this. Um, the scene where I forgot the scene where SpongeBob and Patrick are taking a look at Squidward is a reference to Alien. And of course, it's when Squidward's tentacle attaches to Patrick's helmet. It's a complete reference to when the face hugger lands on the front of the mask, and you see that on the glass there. There's a few also nods to Star Wars music throughout this episode, which is really nice. Once again, completely love this episode. As far as the concept of aliens go, this is a big deal here. We're now living in a world where our government recently just, released those videos of unidentified flying objects, although they have a completely different name for them now. But that's where the term UFO comes from, is just something in the sky you can't explain, UFO. Do I think, for me personally, that aliens exist? I do, but I don't think like 99% of the so-called like alien abductions that people say have happened. I don't think they've happened in the way that they're told. But I did leave 1% out there. Do I think that at some point someone was abducted? Yeah, I imagine it's I don't know. It's something interesting. It's something that you got to take, if a million people say they were abducted by aliens, all of them are lying? I don't know. It's a crazy conversation, but it's one of those conversations that it doesn't really lead to there being like a yes or no. I mean, for me, I listen to evidence. I listen to, obviously a lot of Joe Rogan talking about the supernatural with his guests, and the stories of Bob Lazar, and Dan Aykroyd talking about different things associated with aliens. Here's my core belief. The universe as we know it right now is massive. It's bigger than it's infinite as far as we know. So it's bigger than we could ever think. So to think that in this infinite space, human beings are the only living, thinking creatures on a planet, and just you could go light years away and you're just going to find more empty planets, seems like a silly concept. So I do think somewhere out there are others, but what they look like, how their culture is, how their life is, are they animals living on a planet like dinosaurs where there's no humans around? It's just kind of predators and prey. Who knows? But there's got to be life somewhere out there in the world. That's kind of where my stance is. I'm very open to it happening. I'm not closed off. I'm not somebody who could say, nope, there's no aliens. Nothing has ever happened. That's it. End of story. I'm not that kind of person. Do I want there to be a communication? I mean, can you just think about it for one day? Like, imagine if we do have communication with another species, like NASA comes out like, we just got a hello from like 100 light years away. I don't know. It feels like the world would be at a standstill for a moment and go like, whoa, everybody okay with this? Everyone good? I would be okay with that. I would be a little freaked out, but I would be okay with that. But, yeah, I wanted to do this episode simply because of the whole alien thing. I'd want to have a conversation with somebody. So maybe one day we'll have another conversation about aliens. I'll talk with someone about that. But yeah, please follow us on all social media: Instagram @SpongeBob Podcast, I was able to get that name for TikTok as well. I'm going to put up some SpongeBob specific TikToks. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. Find us on whatever social media you decide on. Follow us on Mixer at SpongePod Squarecast. Look us up on Redbubble. You can purchase the logo, both of our logos, on a t-shirt or on a sticker or a wallet or whatever you'd like. Don't forget, though, definitely pay attention to Mixer. Starting very soon, and I'm going to be promoting this as much as I can. I'm going to have the first live stream of Video Bob Game Pants. I would love it if a bunch of you fans could come out and we can hang out for a night, play some SpongeBob games. It would be nice to live chat with a lot of you, and we can build this up and see what we can do with the world. But I hope everybody is staying safe out there. Wash your hands, wear your face masks, and when things start reopening, listen to whatever guidelines are out there. Stay safe. Love all of you. Happy trails. We'll see you next time, everybody. Arr.